Effective use of your time. I like to talk about effective use of your time rather than time management. As we know, or I hope we know, managing your time is really about managing yourself. None of us have any less time than anybody else. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. And I particularly like this one. Okay, we all have the same amount of hours in a day as Beyonce, as Oprah, as the Prime Minister, as the top businessmen. It's all about how we use our time. Yes, they might have more money, and yes, with money can come some ways of employing people to free up some of our time, but we do all have the same 24 hours in a day, and it's up to us how we can use it. So we need to plan to make effective use of our time. For most adults, when you're studying, you've added an extra level of busy into your life, often with added costs and reduced income, which can impact on the ways you can make use of your time. Now, those business people, Beyonce, Oprah, of course they can employ people to do their housework, perhaps to look after their children if they want to cook their meals, which can free up their time to do other things that they make them more money or that they might prefer to do. When you're studying, I realise that being able to put your children into childcare, perhaps, use some occasional care to free up some hours for your study, having a house cleaner, being able to buy meals at a restaurant aren't really as possible as when you're working and you have more income. But we really have to make the best that we can with the time and resources that we've got, and by being creative we can put into place solutions that can help us make best use of our time given the circumstances that we've got, rather than looking at what we don't have or what we could do if only we had the money or the income to pay for that. It comes back to that attitude that we talked about earlier, having a positive outlook about what you can do rather than being in the negative of what you can't do. In order to get your work done and achieve your goals, which would be why you're doing this study, it's helpful to have a plan. So we need to remember our why. In topic 1, we identified our why, the big reason or reasons. Don't like that. The big reason or reasons why you will be studying. Make sure you have your reason and goals on display as daily reminders. And some of you will have done the vision board exercise. We've got an example of a person's multiple vision boards up there. So you can put them on display as daily reminders to keep you motivated and on track. But even if you don't want to go that far with vision boards, you might simply write a reminder for yourself on your calendar where you see it every day. In your planner, put a sticky note on the bathroom mirror and remind yourself of why you're studying. Identify the time wasters in your life. In the home study tasks this week, one of the things you'll be doing is looking at common time drainers. I want you to see where you can find some time that you can better use on your study or other helpful tasks, helpful to your life, whether it's exercise, helping you feel better and have that positive attitude, or whether it's just getting the kids organised, making all the lunches at once and then putting them in the freezer so that you don't have to find 20 minutes every morning to make the lunches, those sorts of things. Now, I do want to emphasize, there's nothing wrong with doing tasks that you find relaxing. Okay, so there's some things like listening to music, watching TV, computer games, daydreaming. Yeah, there's some good ones. On the time wasters task, now we're not saying that those things are time wasters and you should cut them out. Not at all. What I am saying is that you need to be intentional about the choices you're making. So if watching TV is something that relaxes you and helps you unwind at the end of a busy day, it might be the only thing that helps you quiet your mind and get into another world, then by all means, do it. Make it something intentional that you enjoy. I'm sitting down to watch my favourite program on television. Might be something you schedule in each week. Might be something you schedule in each day. There's nothing wrong with that. But if watching TV 4 nights out of 5 or 5 nights out of 7 isn't about sitting down to watch something that you really enjoy, but is instead just tuning out, mind-numbing if you like, just something that you're doing out of habit, then think about how you're using your time and whether there'd be another better use for you with your time. And that's a completely personal decision. I might want to watch TV a few nights a week, to watch programs that I enjoy and just have some downtime where I can switch off and watch some entertainment. And then another few nights a week, I do my study. I try and schedule my study for days when I am not as tired. There might be another hobby that you want to do or interests that you want to do. So you don't even have to schedule in, on Monday I'll do this and on Tuesday I'll do that. Though, of course, if there's particular programs you want to watch, then you might schedule in your time like that. But, you might say, well, 3 nights I'll watch TV and 4 nights I'll either study or do some other activities that I enjoy. So it's about being intentional about how you use your time and using it in ways that fulfill you and relax you and lift you up, rather than just finding that your time fritters away and you haven't really done anything rewarding or relaxing for yourself. Now, on page 25 of the Success for You guide, under the heading Motivate Yourself, Activity 2.6 talks about prepare plans, and it has 3 phases of planning. You've got your long-term plan, which would be your yearly planner or course schedule. As soon as you receive any notification about assignment due dates, course dates, work placement periods, any of those sorts of things, record them on your calendar and in any planners that you use, or any and all planners that you use. So if you have a calendar for the family and a diary for yourself, then make sure those big things get recorded in both places. Likewise, any big events like holidays, weddings, birthdays, school events, sporting events, anything that is important that you know of ahead of time, schedule it in all of those places. And that gives you a bit of a picture for your year, and when you can look at what periods you might be able to fit your study in, and what periods might be holiday times, what periods might be times where you can spend time with the kids in the school holidays maybe. So you need to look at all those sorts of things, and you can look at them in your long-term planning. Then you have your midterm planning, which it talks about weekly planning. And this is your detailed plan for the week ahead. I like to get in the routine of setting it up weekly, and I do mine on a Sunday evening. But also add to it whenever you find out about particular dates, like when assignments are due that you haven't had big notification about. Often in vocational education and training, assignments will be due at the completion of each unit of study. So if the trainer has set any deadlines, then you need to write them in each time you get a new unit. You also need to look at, when you're doing your weekly planning and what's coming up that week, do you need to schedule time towards a bigger goal coming up? So you might have an assignment that's due at the end of the semester that's quite a big assignment. Don't make the mistake of suddenly it's looming and you only realize about it next week. Part of your weekly planning would be looking at upcoming dates and events on the long-term planner and thinking, now do I need to schedule some time towards achieving that, and breaking it down into smaller periods. So you might be able to spend an hour a week on a big assignment rather than needing to spend 20 hours the week that it's due. So look at things like that and how you can schedule them in, and talk to your trainer even about, do they have any tips on how you could break down a task like that and work on it gradually over time, rather than getting into a last minute sort of thinking about a big task like that. Then we have our daily to-do list, and this is just a daily checklist of tasks to get done. They say sticking to 3 to 5 only can be very powerful. And for some of us, particularly parents, mothers, it might seem like there's no way. There's no way I could limit it to 3 to 5 tasks. Do you know how much I get done in a day? But they say to try and incorporate the rest of those things into routines, so that you're not having to remember or write down 20 different things that you have to do in a day, but you get in the habit of having particular routines about what you do, of enlisting your kids or other family members into doing things for themselves and for helping you and sharing the load. And providing those routines are followed, then you've really only got a few particular jobs that have to be a focus in any given day. There's more about time management on the Business Balls website, and that's listed in the course materials as well, and you're invited to spend some time on that in the home tasks this week also, and see where you can find. We all plan and run our lives so very differently depending on our circumstances. So spend some time looking at those resources and seeing where you can find some effective ways of using your time, and seeing if you can implement some of those things between now and when you start your study can be a great way of gradually making those changes.